I almost missed out on the one tax strategy that helped me become a millionaire. And the worst part, I knew better, but I still hesitated. About 5 years ago, I sat in bed scrolling through all my accounts and realized I'd hit a number I never thought I'd see. I logged into everything. We're talking bank balances on checking accounts, savings, Roth IRAs, taxable investments, 401ks, 403bs, 457s. I took a look at everything and I started punching in all the numbers, and the total was over $1 million. 7 figures. A number I set a goal to hit back when I was just 22 years old. And I just sat there in the glow of my laptop. My wife, Courtney, was already asleep next to me. And I wasn't celebrating. I didn't call anybody to share the great news. I was just thinking specifically about the moment I almost didn't take the steps to make all this happen. The moment I almost stayed stuck in a employee mindset when I had a business owner's income flowing in every month. Back when this YouTube channel really started taking off, I had a meeting with my accountant, Jeff. His message and words to me were crystal clear. You are ready to stop thinking about all this like some side hustle, hobby, and start thinking like a real business owner. I remember sitting in Jeff's office and we realized together that I was making more money than I ever had as a teacher, but I was still thinking small. You see, at that time there were multiple income streams. YouTube ad revenue, that was growing month over month. Affiliate commissions when someone signed up for a product or service. And I was even doing a little consulting to help people with their businesses. And everything was steady, growing more than enough to live on. But yeah, I still saw it all as a little side hustle. Like I was playing business. Like it all might just disappear tomorrow if I didn't just keep my head down and act grateful for whatever came my way. I told myself I'd wait until I was making real money, whatever that meant. 6 figures, 7, some arbitrary number that would make me feel legitimate enough to start acting like a real business owner. I can admit it now, I had this deep, irrational fear that if I started paying myself an actual salary through payroll, something also known as electing S-Corp status, I'd somehow mess it all up. I was afraid I wasn't big enough for all this sophisticated business stuff. I was afraid that some IRS agent would come knocking on my door and laugh at, my operation. I mean, people said it to me back then, to my face. You're just some classroom teacher with a webcam. What do you know about money? What do you know about building wealth? What qualifies you to do any of that? It sounds a little ridiculous now, but the imposter syndrome was real. I was making business owner money, but still had that employee mindset hardwired into my brain. Basically, it was like the employee version of me was still running the show, waiting for permission from some boss who didn't exist to tell me to start making the smart financial moves I knew I should be making. And then one day, Pearson, my oldest son, he asked something that stopped me cold. We were sitting at the table, kitchen table. He's doing homework after dinner. And he just looks up and says, "Daddy, can we go to Disney World this year? All my friends have been going and they say it's really fun." And I paused, and not the kind of pause where you're, calculating costs or, checking your calendar. The kind of pause where something inside you kind of like breaks a little bit. Not because we couldn't afford it. We absolutely could. The money was sitting there in our vacation fund account online, growing steadily. And at the time, again, I was making more than I ever had, more than most teachers make in a year. But I paused because even though the money was there, the mindset wasn't. I was still operating from scarcity, still thinking like someone who had to ask permission before spending money on his family. Still waiting for someone to give me the green light to invest in my future, our future. To say it's okay to take that extra vacation or start acting like a business owner. Even though I'd already become one, but I was just too scared to fully embrace it. So the next day I called my accountant Jeff back and I asked him to actually run the numbers on what I was leaving on the table by staying a sole proprietor instead of making the leap to S-Corp status. And he came back a couple days later with a, fancy spreadsheet. But all that made my head spin and my stomach drop at the same time. And that's because he said, "Rich, if you don't move on this now, you're leaving potentially $30,000 on the table this year alone. And that's being conservative. Could be more depending on how much you grow." So yeah, $30,000 just sitting there, waiting for me to stop being scared and start being smart about my money, the money I was already making. But it really wasn't about the money, though, leaving 30 grand on the table would definitely hurt. But it was bigger than that. It was deeper than that for me. I realized I was leaving options on the table, options that would give me the freedom to make choices without worrying about cash flow, true ownership of my time and my future, the ability to build something that could take care of my family long after even I was gone, something that could compound and grow and create real generational wealth. We're talking legacy stuff here, and all that goes way beyond just, paying this month's bills. So I finally did it. I stopped hesitating. I started acting like the business owner I was. I went ahead, I elected S-Corp status, which sounds scarier than honestly it really is. I set up payroll, started paying myself that reasonable salary, which felt weird at first, but that makes everything official. And I even opened up a SEP IRA, so that could be an option too for retirement contributions as a business owner when the time was right. I didn't have it all figured out all of a sudden, but that year I got a massive tax refund, which was nice. That year I also maxed out all the available retirement accounts to us. In fact, my paycheck from being a classroom teacher that last year was less than $2 every 2 weeks. I always wondered what the HR ladies thought. But I did all that on purpose to make sure we could live without that salary. And that's exactly what we did, because I finally went through and I set up all the systems as a business owner that help build long-term wealth quietly, consistently. It wasn't anything flashy. There's no Lambo in the driveway. There was no celebration post on social media. No one threw me a party. All the stuff we're talking about here is just foundational. This is the boring stuff that actually builds wealth over time. Yeah, so that was the moment I stopped treating my business like a hobby and started treating it like the, wealth engine it had become. We crossed the $1 million mark, not because of some viral video or lucky breaks, but sure, those help too. We crossed it because we made the right moves with the money that we were already making. Because I stopped thinking small and started thinking like somebody who deserved to win. Here's what I learned. It's not really about hitting a number. The $1 million mark is just a milestone. It's not a destination. It's about realizing you're allowed to think bigger. That no one's going to show up at your door and knock or tap you on the shoulder and say, okay, you're officially successful now. You're ready for the advanced strategies. That's not going to happen. You decide when you're ready. You give yourself permission to play at the level you're ready for, but also your income says you should be playing at. And that decision, that shift from waiting to acting, that's what changes everything. I know we're not talking just about your bank account, but how you see yourself and your family, how you move through the world, how you provide for the people you love. I wish I'd had someone say all this to me years earlier. So if you've been waiting for the perfect time to get serious about money, tax strategy, your business, this is your sign. In fact, I went ahead and put together something I call the tax playbook. It breaks down the exact steps I took to shift from side hustle mindset to $1 million decisions. It's no fluff. It's no get rich quick schemes, just the boring, profitable strategies that actually work and are in the tax code. So I invite you to grab a copy of it. Use the link down below in the description of this video. Or if you want to talk through your specific situation, reach out, leave me a comment down below. Sometimes you just need someone to tell you you're ready for the next level. Because really, it's not about being flashy. It's about being free. And if you're looking for a community of people who are serious about building real wealth, I'm opening up access to my private Facebook group again real soon. It's where I'll be sharing more behind the scenes stuff, answering questions, and connecting with folks who are ready to make smart money moves. I'd love to see you there. In the next episode, I'm pulling back the curtain even more. I'm telling you how this channel, this weird little experiment I started when I was burnt out and looking for something more, how it completely changed my life and my family's future. All right, please hit that like button and leave me a comment and make sure you're subscribed. As always, I'm Rich, and until next time.